Shien is a completely ordinary person, living an extremely miserable life, and today is his 30th birthday, and legends say that a person who turns 30 without getting married can use magic, and as soon as the clock reaches 12 he tries to use it, and he tries once and twice but there is no result, so Shien gets bored and goes to sleep, and suddenly he feels pain in his heart and falls to the ground from the intensity of the pain, and says to himself, I do not want to die now, and something strange happens and he is transferred to another world. And he begins a new life with the mind of an adult man in the body of a small child. Shien opens his eyes and finds his mother getting down from the carriage and showing him to her daughter, and tells her say hello to your little brother Mary. So Mary is surprised and goes to kiss him and welcome him, but Shien is confused by her appearance. After 3 years, Mary and Shien have grown a bit, and they play in the house yard about who will reach first. So Mary beats him and asks him, why are you so slow? But Shien is exhausted from running and tells her you are too fast. So she replies, of course I am your older sister after all. At night the family is sitting together having dinner. So Shien tells his father, I have something I want to ask you. Are monsters present in this world? So he replies, yes. And that is why you must not go outside the house alone. I am sure your mother told you that, because monsters are dangerous to humans and can kill them, and you should not approach them. And if you ever see a monster you must run away and ask an adult for help. So Shien asks him then, is there something called fairies and spirits? So he replies, actually I do not know anything about spirits, but fairies do exist. They are somewhat rare, so it is difficult for you to meet one, but there are merchants who know how to hunt them. Shien then asks him, in magic, does it exist as well? So he tells him, no, it does not exist. I have never heard anything about it before. So Shien replies, maybe you just do not know about it yet. So he says, maybe. There are certainly things I do not know about. But at least there is nothing called magic that is common among people. I have never seen anyone talk about it before. And then he asks him, where did you hear about fairies and magic? But Shien does not answer him. And from that moment Shien does not talk about magic again. After 3 years, Mary is training in combat in front of the house, and Shien is sitting reading his book and watching her. And after a while Mary gets tired and comes to sit next to him, so he asks her, why do you train in combat like this? So she replies, because I am your older sister, and I must be ready for any danger that comes to us, like the appearance of monsters or anything similar. If criminals attack you, I must be ready to fight. I must be strong so I can protect you. At sunset Mary goes to train in combat with her friend Rose at the lake. So Rose tells her, you were training all day. I am surprised you are not tired yet. And suddenly a strange light appears from the lake. So Mary says in amazement, what is this? And she remembers Shien when he was talking about magic with their father at dinner. On the next day Mary takes Shien and they go to the lake. So Shien says, Mom told us we are not supposed to go far. So she tells him, do not worry, the place is not far, and there are no monsters here. Then they sit and wait for sunset. So Shien asks her, are you sure Mom will not be angry because we are late? So she replies she might be a little upset, but I am sure it is worth it. Suddenly light comes out of the lake and glowing orbs emerge from it. So Shien is amazed. So Mary tells him, a little before sunset these orbs come out of the lake. But I do not know the reason. So Shien asks her, do Dad and Mom know about this? So she replies, yes, I brought them here quickly the first time I saw this phenomenon, but strangely they could not see it. So I was a little worried that you might not be able to see it either. It seems people see it differently. I, for example, see it light up and then disappear again. Some children saw the lights completely. This must be magic, right? On the next day the family is sitting having breakfast, and Shien and Mary finish eating quickly. So the father and mother are surprised by them, and Shien tells Mary, let us go. And then they go to the lake to try to explore the secret of these lights, and they sit fishing from the lake. But Shien becomes very tired. So Mary tells him, you are not in good condition at all, and that is because you do not train like me, so your endurance has become weak. By the way, it is still early for sunset. Will we do something else? He tells her, yes, I will go explore this lake. First I want to know where these light orbs come from. So Mary asks him, are they not supposed to come from the lake? So he replies, they certainly come from something living under the water. If we do not search properly we will never know what these orbs are. So Mary asks him, what will we do now? So he tells her, first we will put 3 different things from the lake into separate buckets. We will put rocks in one, aquatic plants in another bucket, and fish in the last, and we will wait for sunset and see exactly which one the orbs come from. After that they put the items in the buckets and sit fishing from the lake. So Mary tells him, we have been here for a long time and have not caught anything. So Shien laughs and tells her, you do not know how happy I am that you are helping me. So she replies, what are you saying? Of course I must be by your side. I am your older sister. So Shien thanks her and tells her, thank you for helping me. So she replies, I also want to see magic if it exists. And suddenly Mary finally catches a fish. Then they put it in the 3rd bucket. So Shien asks her, is this fish rare? So she tells him, no, this fish exists everywhere. Suddenly Rosemary's friend enters on them and asks them, what are you doing? And is this your little brother? So Mary tells her yes, say hello Shien. So Shien greets her. So Rose asks them, what are you doing then? So Mary replies, we are fishing. So Rose asks, do you have to fish in this particular lake? So Mary replies, do not worry, Shien knows everything. So Rose is surprised and asks him, can you see the glowing orbs? This is a strange phenomenon. So he tells her, yes, I saw them completely. Do you know anything about these orbs? So she replies, no, I just like to watch them. At sunset, Rose is sitting fishing from the lake, and suddenly these glowing orbs come out. So Mary tells Shien, unfortunately the things we put in the buckets are not glowing. So he replies, I tried to mimic their environment. Is there something else living in the lake besides this fish? So Mary replies, of course there are many things. So Rose tells them, it is difficult for you to gather all the things in the lake. Shien tells her, you are right, and takes off his clothes and decides to go down into the lake to discover the secret of these orbs. So Mary tells him, wait, going down there is very dangerous. So he tells her, do not worry about me, I will be fine. So she replies, then I will go down with you. And they both go down into the lake and are amazed by the beauty of these orbs. And Shien puts his hand on one of the orbs and tells Mary it is a little warm and has a different feeling. And he puts his head into the water to see what is inside, but he does not find anything. So Mary tells him it must be because it is dark. So he replies, but I discovered something. These light orbs come from something living under the water. It could be the fish because these orbs move in the water. So Mary says, I wish we could see more clearly. After that they get out of the water and put their clothes back on. And Shien thanks his sister for what she did with him. So she tells him, there is no need, I am your older sister after all. And suddenly Rose tells them, I caught another fish from the lake. But this one is the female of the fish you caught before. So Mary is surprised, and tells her catching females is very rare in these areas. They usually live in deep waters, but since it is mating season they surely swim to surface waters. Then they put it with the male fish in the bucket, and suddenly the glowing orbs come out of the bucket. So they are amazed by their beauty. And Shien says, now I understand the matter. This is a courtship behavior between fish, and these orbs are its result. On the next day Shien thanks his sister for helping him, and goes to hug her, and suddenly Shien lights up, so they are both surprised, and Shien says this might be magical energy. This is definitely courtship behavior. I think every time I show my feelings I will glow more. So Mary gets scared and runs quickly. So Shien says magic definitely exists in this world, but no one has discovered it yet, and from here my story will begin. After a while Shien sits on his bed and tells himself, the last 3 years of my previous life I was suffering from despair. I studied and learned, and that was part of my obsession with magic. I would never give up. I could not even believe that magic did not exist in that world. And in my second life, now that I am 6 years old, I was close to losing that goal from my life. But recently when I discovered the glowing orbs, hope returned to me again. Mary enters his room, so he tells her, it is good that you came. Come sit next to me here. So Mary goes and sits on the bed, and she is surprised when she finds Shien staring at her. So he tells her, I love you. So Mary gets embarrassed, and suddenly Shien starts glowing, and he says, in order to show this magical energy I must express my feelings, but surely not every time I use magic I will do that. I must look for another way. So Mary gets angry at him and tells him, you treated me like a lab rat just to use your magic. So Shien gets flustered and tells her, but I was not lying, this was the truth. So she replies, fine, I will forgive you this time. Did you discover anything else about this magic? He tells her, all I reached is that I must express my feelings to use magic. Surely there is another way to use it. I will try to use other emotions, like happiness or fear for example. And suddenly Shien glows again, and says, I succeeded in finding another way. So Mary is astonished and tells him, you did it on purpose, right? So Shien tells himself, even if my body only emits light, this will not provide any benefit as long as I am not using magic. But still I have confirmed the existence of magic. After a period of time, Shien is sitting in his room, and says, a month has passed since the last time I reached the glowing stage. And during this period I learned many things, which are that to achieve this glow, I must reach a certain emotional state. But unfortunately maintaining these emotions for a long time is very difficult. And I also discovered that there is a certain limit to the number of times I can reach the glow in one day. But when you fully exhaust your magical energy, you return the next day stronger. And I also discovered that people who cannot see the glowing orbs will not be able to use magic, and only the people who see these orbs are able to use it. Shien feels panic, and says, why can I not create magical orbs? Is this because there is a limit to the amount of magical energy a person has? Right now the most I can do is just glow. So does that mean my magical energy is less than the energy of a fish? Surely something is wrong. I am supposed to increase the maximum energy of glowing. I feel like I am at a dead end. But no, this is not the time to give up. After all the distance I have come, I will not stop and say that I cannot use magic. The fish that were in the lake made their bodies glow, and then released glowing orbs, so I might have reached something. So Shien tries to use magic and makes his body glow, and says I will now try to move this magical energy to my hand, but Shien does not succeed, and says it is difficult to focus on emotions, and at the same time focus on transferring the energy to my hand. I will try to reverse the order, and Shien tries to use magic again, and indeed he manages to make his hand emit stronger light, and Shien becomes happy, and goes to test this energy, and strikes the wall with his hand, but it hurts him a lot, and he says this is just ordinary light. I thought it was powerful magic that I could destroy things with, but anyway it does not matter, I managed to produce strong light, and this is the first step. After a while Shien goes with Rose and Mary to train in combat with their father, so Shien tells his father I can withdraw, because I do not like hitting anyone, so there is no need to teach me combat. So his father replies this is not true. Humans are not the only ones you must strike with a sword. You will find monsters everywhere as soon as you leave the village. So Rose says I asked to learn combat to protect myself. After a while Shien falls to the ground from exhaustion, so his father tells him I did not expect you to be so unsuitable for combat at all, and tells Rose you have a high sense for combat, you will become an excellent fighter in the future, and now Mary, it is your turn to face me. So Mary prepares for combat and lunges at him, but her father jumps quickly and strikes her with the staff, and wins the fight very easily, so he tells her do not be upset, you were good, but your movements are a bit slow. Keep training diligently, and you will become skilled within a few years, so Mary becomes happy. After that Shien goes to sit in his room and he is training on using magic, but he faces difficulty using it, and says I will stop now, and start reviewing magic research again, and suddenly his father enters and tells him we are going to the nearby city to buy some things. What do you think, will you come with us? So Shien becomes happy, and tells him of course, I will come with you. After that they go to the city, and the father tells them we have arrived, but the children are very exhausted, and he tells them we will go buy some things, and do not stray away from us so you do not get lost. So Shien feels sad and says I wished I could search here for any clues about magic, and after that they go to buy their things, and after they finish, the father tells them we will go to the blacksmith grass first before we go home. Then they go to the blacksmith, so the father tells him where is the thing I asked you for. So he tells him the sword for your daughter Mary, right? It is ready now and I will bring it to you. So Mary is surprised and the blacksmith gives her the sword, and tells her I made it light so it will not be heavy for you. So Mary becomes very happy. As soon as they finish with him they ride the carriage to return home again, and Mary tells Shien I hope you are not upset, because dad got me a gift and not you. So he tells her do not worry, this is your birthday, and besides I do not want a sword like yours anyway. And suddenly Shien notices a strange shop, so he tells his father look at that shop. So he tells him that place is dangerous, and there is no need for you to know anything about it now. So Shien apologizes, and tells him I just felt curious about it, and tells himself I read that the name of that shop is the Fairy Cellar. On the next day, there is a man walking in the forest amid the rain, and he says to himself I must return to the village quickly before the firewood I have gets soaked. And suddenly he feels movement beside him, and a person appears in front of him running fast, then falls to the ground, so he asks are you okay? And the man replies the monsters killed everyone, the ghouls appeared. On the other side, Shien is sitting training magic with Mary, and Mary is counting the time Shien uses magic, and he lasts a full 10 seconds. So Mary claps for him and tells him you achieved a new record, so he replies this is thanks to your help my sister. So she answers you do not look happy enough. So he replies on the contrary I am now using magic for a longer time than before. But this is not enough because it is only radiation, so Mary goes and holds his hand and tells him I love your magic Shien. Suddenly they hear a sound coming from downstairs, so they go down to see what is happening. And they ask their father what exactly is happening here. So he tells them the ghouls appeared in the village. These monsters are dangerous and we must deal with them carefully. So the father orders his wife to gather the women and children from the village so they can hide here, and tells her I will go with the other men to defeat these monsters. So Mary holds Shien's hand, and tells him do not worry I am here to protect you. But he notices signs of fear on her. Before the father leaves, Shien stops him, so the father tells him I do not have time to talk now. So Shien replies I will not take much of your time. Do these monsters have intelligence and the physical ability to reach the second floor from outside the house? So he tells him no, they are stupid, and also they will not be able to climb. So Shien replies then we will hide on the second floor so none of the monsters can reach us, and we will also use furniture to block the doors. After that the villagers hide with Shien's family in a room, and at the same time one of the monsters sneaks into the house, and tries to break the window, and manages to break in, so they all panic, and Mary says fearfully will the monster be able to reach us here? So Shien replies be quiet, and do not make a sound so it does not hear us, and the monster goes up to the second floor searching for them, and on the other side they are terrified that the monster will find their location. But the monster passes the room they are in, so they become very happy. Suddenly lightning strikes strongly, so Rose and her mother get startled and make a sound, so the monster hears them and discovers their location, and breaks the room door with full force, and stands facing them. So Shien's mother tries to protect them, and tells the monster please, do not kill the children, and she loses her balance and falls to the ground, so the monster laughs at her. So Shien is surprised and tells himself it is strange that this monster realizes that it is much stronger than us. So Mary draws her sword and tells the monster, I will kill you now. So Shien warns her and tells her get back quickly. So she replies, no, I promised you that I would protect you if anything happened. But the monster strikes the sword easily and throws it away. So Mary is shocked and falls to the ground, and the monster goes again to strike her. But her mother intercepts and takes the blow instead of her, and suffers severe injuries. So Shien says I must act now. At this rate my mother and sister will die, and Shien lunges at the monster quickly and grabs its arm, and tries to gather all the magical power he learned, and manages to produce an enormous amount of heat, and burns the monster with it. So the monster throws him away, and grabs its arm from the intense pain. And Shien lunges at it again and places his hand on the monster's head, and burns it until it dies. So Shien looks at his hand in astonishment, and asks himself in disbelief, did I just kill it? But they are afraid of him. So Rose goes and holds his hand and tells him we are still alive because of you. So Shien smiles and goes to check on his injured mother. Mary is in a state of panic because of her mother's injury, so Shien and Rose try to calm her down. And Rose tells Shien, I will hold Mary. You go check on your mother. So Shien says her temperature is low. It seems she lost a lot of blood. I must stop this bleeding, but I cannot while she is on the ground. I will move her to the bed first. And the village women are standing watching in shock. Shien asks them for help carrying his mother, and then they place her on the bed, and he asks them, does anyone here understand medicine? So they reply no, so he tells himself of course there would be no one. This is a small village after all. In my previous life I saw how to stop bleeding by stitching on television. So Shien asks again, does anyone here know how to sew? So one of them says I do. But what do you want me to do? So Shien tells them I will ask you for a few things. There are sewing tools in my mother's bedroom, and I also need strong alcohol, and some clean cloth. We do not have much time, so please hurry. After they bring the items, Shien cuts a piece of his mother's clothes and says I expected the wound to be deeper than this, and asks the woman who knows how to sew to stitch the wound. So the woman is surprised and tells him, why would we do that? So Shien thinks to himself, I did not expect stitches to be uncommon in this era, and tells the woman we cannot leave wounds open like this. We must close them by sewing. So she replies, I cannot injure your mother more than this. So Shien replies, please you must help us. Just do everything I tell you. So the woman looks at Mary who is afraid, and decides to help them, and they begin the steps of treating their mother. After they finish, Shien thanks the woman. So she replies, there is no need to thank me, but will your mother improve now? So he replies, we must monitor her condition for a while, but she will be fine in the end. So Mary goes and hugs Shien while crying, and suddenly their father arrives home. And we learn that the father and the village men found monster hideouts in the forest and killed 2 of them. But they saw traces of more monsters, so they decided to return to the village quickly, and thus safety returned to the village again. On the next day, the doctor examines Shien's mother, and tells them that the wound was deep but did not reach the bones or organs. Fortunately, she just needs some rest in bed, and she will be fine. So Shien's mother thanks him, and after the doctor leaves, Mary goes to her mother crying and tells her I am sorry. Everything that happened yesterday was because of me. So her mother holds her hand, and tells her this is not your fault, Mary. You were brave and tried to protect us, so you must be proud of yourself. So Mary wipes her tears. After that the father meets with Shien in Mary's presence, and tells him the villagers told me what happened, and also about the treatment you used on your mother. How did you do all of this? And where did you get this medical knowledge from? So Shien tells himself, because I am a Japanese man and 30 years old in my previous life, but I cannot say that, and tells his father I do not know the reason either. So his father replies, then I will change the question. How did you defeat the monster? I saw burn marks on it. That was magic, was it not? So Shien is surprised, and tells him, how did you know? So he replies, because your behavior resembles that of adults. And because you talked to me about something strange once while we were eating. So Shien tells him, so you would believe me if I told you. So the father replies, I must believe my children. Mary says eagerly Shien was diligently searching for magic research. So the father gets angry and tells him, you act like an adult, but I did not expect you to behave so strangely. Do not talk about this magic in front of people. Problems may happen if anyone finds out what you are doing. So Shien replies, you mean anyone who is different will be persecuted? So he replies, yes. There are things you cannot do in this world. Stop your research on magic, Shien, because it is a dangerous power. Mary objects and tells her father, but Shien spent a long time reaching this research. My mother and I are still alive because of Shien. You do not even know whether it is dangerous or not. so he replies by then it would be too late to know. A power that can kill monsters, how could it not be dangerous? Shien tells him I will continue my research. I understand you are trying to protect me, but if I stop my research I will be miserable. It is just a dangerous power to you, but it is the power of my dreams to me. So the father tells him you are still young, and you think about this world with your small mind. But this thinking will change when you grow up. So Shien replies it will never change. And if my existence becomes a burden on everyone, you can disown me. So the father tells him you want to continue your research to this extent. You may face ridicule, or no one may accept you anymore. Will you continue despite all of that? So Shien replies yes, I will continue. So the father sits on the chair and tells him then you can continue your research. But from now on you must tell me everything you discover. I will stop you if the matter is dangerous. And I will also help you in using this magic. So Shien cries with joy. After that they go to the house garden so Shien can train on magic. So the father lights some firewood for Shien, and Mary asks him what exactly do you want to do? So he replies I wanted to try something using the full power of magic. And he starts using his magic, and puts his hand on the fire. And suddenly the fire glows and Shien's hand ignites. So the father grabs a bucket with water and throws it on him. So Mary asks him in confusion, what were you thinking when you did that? So he replies I learned something new thanks to this action. I wanted to know what would happen if someone who possesses magic interacts with a high level of natural energy like heat for example. And the result is as you saw, the fire glowed, and it also turned blue. The father says I cannot see magical energy. But after what I saw I must believe you. You were really telling the truth. So Shien starts imagining himself using magic. So the father asks why does Shien's face look like that? So Mary replies that is how he looks every time he discovers something new in magic. Do not worry about him. On the next day, Shien prepares to train magic again, and tells his father I am ready now. As soon as my hand ignites throw water on me quickly. And he uses magic and puts his hand in the fire, and it ignites quickly. So the father throws water on it to extinguish it. So Shien says there is no change in temperature, or even the flame color. We need to increase the fire a little. So the father goes to increase it. So Shien tries to put his hand in the fire again, but it ignites without any new changes. So Shien says I will try to reduce the magical energy a bit, and he keeps trying until he gets tired. The father tells him rest a bit, and then we will continue again. So Shien goes to take some rest. And suddenly Rose enters, and tells him you look completely soaked. Is that because of magic experiments? And she is surprised when she sees the firewood. And asks him were you trying to use magical energy with fire? So he replies yes, I will let you see later when dad comes. Because he does not like me using magic when he is not around, so if something dangerous happens he can save me quickly. Rose is surprised and tells him you talk with your father about magic, so he replies yes. He even started helping me. He seems more interested in it than I am. And by the way, thank you for what you did with me on the day the monster attacked us. So she tells him what do you mean? So he replies you praised me after I killed the monster. And that made me very happy. So she replies there is no need for that. I am the one who should thank you because you saved us. And by the way, where is Mary? She is always next to you. So they look to the other side and find Mary training in combat very diligently. So Rose tells him she is probably training because of what happened 2 days ago. So he replies maybe. But I think she will be fine. So Rose replies you must stand by her just like she does with you. She wishes that too. After that Shien sits with his father Mary and Rose at the table and tells them I discovered that the more I increase magical energy, the more the flame clings to my hand. I also tested many sources that produce heat to see the effect, and I found the same result as fire, so I concluded that as long as the heat is high, it increases the magical flame. It seems magical energy is similar to a flammable substance, but for now it is just ordinary energy with no real use. His father tells him it is difficult for us to control fire, so Shien replies if I can keep the glowing orbs that fish produce away from my hand, I will be able to control them, so Mary tells him I can do it. And she uses magic and releases the glowing orbs into the air. So Shien is very surprised, and Mary tells him I heard the method from you and tried it, and I was able to use it. Rose can do it too normally, so Rose replies yes like this, and she uses it easily, and tells Shien I thought you could do it normally, so I did not mention it in front of you. So Shien tries to release the orbs into the air, and asks them what am I supposed to do now? So Mary tells him try to stabilize it well on your hand, and indeed Shien manages to do it. After that they go out to the house garden so Shien can train, and he holds a manual ignition tool in his hand, and tries to use magic with the spark of the ignition tool. And suddenly a giant ball of flame comes out and explodes in the air, so they are all shocked. And Mary says I did not expect him to use magic like this. And Shien tells himself I succeeded in using it this way. The magic I dreamed of for 30 years. I was able to use it now. After a while Shien is walking feeling very exhausted because of training, and tells himself in order to use the fireball, I must focus on my magical energy, but this energy decreases with use. I must plan better next time. And suddenly he hears his sister's voice, So he goes to see what she is doing, and finds her training in combat with their father. But Mary is tired and injured because of the training, so her father tells her that is enough for today and rest. But Mary refuses to rest, and tells him, you told me that the more I train the stronger I will become. So he replies, but training has limits and you have reached yours. So Shien enters the conversation, and tells her dad is right, you must stop now. But she does not care about their words, and continues training as she is. So Shien calls her, so Mary looks at him angrily and leaves them and walks away. So the father tells Shien do not worry about her. She is just tense because of the day the monster attacked you. After that, Shien sits with his father to talk about his next research project, and Shien asks him, is there something here that produces electricity? So the father replies in surprise, what is electricity? So Shien tells him it is something like lightning. I wanted to know if there are animals or plants that produce this electricity. So he replies, no, but I heard that the blacksmith grass saw lightning in some place. But it is not as strong. Let us go to the city today. So Mary tells them, you go. I am not free to come with you this time. And she takes Shien and walks him to the door, and closes the door in his face, and goes up to her room and looks at the bandages on her hand, and she is very sad. On the other side, Shien and his father go to the blacksmith grass, and he tells them, yes, you are probably referring to lightning metal. So the father asks him about a place that sells this metal. So he replies that is a bit difficult, because it is not easy to transport. It is somewhat dangerous, that is why merchants leave it where it is. So Shien asks him about the rubber tree. So he replies, I have never heard of this tree before. So Shien tells himself they have not discovered rubber yet. So I only have one electrical insulator, which is glass. And he asks him, do you have volcanic glass? It is a type of mineral. It is transparent and looks like crystal. So he replies, yes, it is called paper crystal. It looked beautiful, so I kept some of it. So Shien is amazed by its appearance, and asks to try touching it, so Grast agrees, and asks him, what do you want to do now? So Shien replies, I want a bigger crystal than this. So he replies, go to the trade district, you will find it there. But it is a bit expensive. So the father says, let us go get it. So Shien is surprised and tells him, you will really buy it for me. So he replies, yes, do you not need it? So Shien says, yes, but it is expensive. So he replies, do not worry about the price. Besides, you never ask me for anything. So Shien becomes happy. After that, they return home again, and they have the lightning metal that the blacksmith Grast brought them, and Shien stands in the house garden to try magical energy on it. And his mother says happily, I will finally watch my son's magic experiments. So Shien starts using his magic on the metal, and suddenly a very big spark happens. So his father tells him, do not be sad about failure. You failed many times before you used fire magic. But suddenly Shien laughs, and says, I succeeded in an experiment. So his father and mother are surprised, and Shien tells himself, I discovered new properties of this magic besides ignition. When I brought it close to metal, it created a huge spark, which means magic mimics the phenomenon it touches. And this way I am close to using all kinds of magic I desire. After that, Shien sits in his room, and asks himself, how do I turn this magic into an electric current, and release it from my hand as an electric shock? I want to use magic more freely, I got it. There is no need to keep my magic in the form of a ball, and Shien tries to change the shape of his magic, and he actually manages to transform it into other forms, and says I was busy copying fish magic, but I should be more flexible and try other things. He goes to Mary's room to tell her about this discovery, but he does not find her there, and notices the bandages she was wearing on the bed, so he goes outside the house to look for her, and calls her everywhere, and finds her at the lake training in combat. So Mary asks him, what are you doing here? So he replies, you always encourage me when I use magic, but I was not paying attention to you. So she tells him, I asked myself why you do not help me. I was just feeling jealous. I am supposed to be your older sister and always protect you. That is why I was always encouraging you. And I also put a lot of effort into combat training to protect you. But on the day the monster attacked us, I could not do anything. I was very scared. And I would have died if you had not saved me. I was upset with myself because I could not do anything. I am supposed to protect you, not you protect me. And I could not bear that. Shien asks her, so do you hate me now? So she tells him, of course not. You are my little brother. I will love you forever. I just cannot forgive myself. And until now I feel jealous because of your power. Because I am weak compared to you. So Mary sits on the ground, and tells him that is why I was trying to become stronger, and when I do my confidence will return, and I will be braver than I am now. So Shien goes and hugs her, and tells her, I was not aware of these feelings. I was not by your side all the time. I am sorry, Mary. On the next day, Shien stands in the home garden to conduct his experiments, and he uses magic and greatly enlarges the magic sphere, but he discovers that this action makes the magic thin, and thus the energy will not be sufficient to activate fire magic. So Shien tries to reduce its size, and uses the tool that helps with ignition, and indeed he manages to use fire magic, and he tells himself condensing the energy led to a noticeable increase in the flame. He goes to try other experiments on lightning metal, and uses a small magical energy, but it gives off a slight spark, so he tries to use higher energy, and suddenly sparks spread greatly, to the point that it makes Shien fall to the ground. So Mary and Rose rush to check on him. So he tells them, do not worry about me, I am fine. So Rose asks him, why did the lightning return to you again? Is it not supposed to move forward? So he replies, yes, that is what should happen. But I do not know what happened. It is strange that lightning moves toward the source of magical energy, and he tells himself, I feel that I am close to discovering something new, but I still cannot reach it. It is possible that this magic has no limits. And suddenly his father and Grast the blacksmith enter on them. They enter the house to talk together, and the father tells Shien, Grast used your plan to transport lightning metal for himself, and he wanted to turn it into a profitable trade. So Grast says, I wanted to gather a large fortune from selling this metal without your permission. Please forgive me. So he replies, no problem, it is normal. So Grast is surprised, and tells him, but I stole your idea for my own benefit. So the father replies, but the truth is that this is not the only problem. Grast takes them to his warehouse, and it is filled with lightning metal, and he tells them this metal is not suitable for lighting because it is somewhat dangerous. People bought it only because it was unfamiliar, but after a short time, people started returning the metal to me and taking their money back because of its annoying crackling sound. So I am asking you for one request. I want a way to sell this metal as quickly as possible, because within 3 days I will not be able to rent this warehouse. You can surely do something, right? So Shien tells him, I will try to help you, but I do not have a plan, so do not rely on me. But by the way, why are you keeping these metals so far apart like this? So Grast brings two metals close to each other, and suddenly a strong attraction occurs between the two metals, and intense light and electricity are produced. And he tells them, because if I bring them close this will happen. So they are all shocked by the sight. After that, Grast shows them lightning metal after he melted it, and it is calm and does not produce any electricity. So Shien asks him, does it light up if it touches another one like it? So he tells him, try it yourself, and Grast gives him another melted metal as well. So Shien holds it and brings it close, and surprisingly it does not produce any reaction. So Shien asks, at which stage of melting does the lightning stop? So he replies, it produced lightning when I broke it, but it almost stopped when I heated it, and then melted it. Shien goes to the furnace to try an experiment, which is to produce fire using his magic. So Grast is very amazed by what he did, and tells him, what did you just do? So Shien replies, this is magic. So Grast asks him anyway, will the result differ if you use your fire to melt the metal? So Shien tells him, honestly, I do not know. I am in the middle of my research on magic. So he replies, generally the melting process will take an hour. You can go for a walk and come back again. So Shien refuses and tells him, no, I want to see the experiment myself. After Grast finishes melting the metals, he brings them close to each other, and suddenly intense electrical sparks are produced. So Shien becomes happy, and they all clap for him, because he succeeded in his experiment. So Shien tells them, we can invent products with this metal, and sell them to people. From that moment the manufacturing of these products began as quickly as possible. Even the blacksmith Grast worked for 3 days without rest, and in the end they produced the lightning lamp. And it was better than the normal lamp. And besides that, it does not run out, and they also invented another product, which is a lighter, that ignites firewood faster than the normal lighter. Grast thanks Shien for his help. So the mother says, what do you think we go back to eat lunch after we finish the work? And the family walks to return home again, and Grast bids them farewell. So Mary asks Shien, how did you make these products? So he tells her, I was trying to make anything I thought of using magic, and indeed I was able to do that, and at the same time people were happy with these products, and also the entire quantity sold out very quickly. After they return home, Shien goes to the garden, and he is holding a candle, and takes Rose and Mary with him, and they ask him, what will you try today? So he tells them, this candle I have is supposed to stay lit because of oxygen, but if I put this cup over it the flame will go out, and that is because I isolated oxygen from it. So Rose tells him this is the same principle used in extinguishing a normal lamp, so he replies, exactly, but I will try the same experiment using my fire magic, and I will isolate oxygen from it. So Mary says, I expect it will not go out, but Rose disagrees with her, and tells her, I expect it will go out. So Shien tries and uses his magic and lights the candle, and isolates oxygen from it, and after he removes the cup, the candle has not gone out and is still burning, so Mary becomes happy that she beat Rose. Shien tells himself clearly magic does not need oxygen, meaning that magical energy is not affected by external factors. We now know that fire magic is different from normal fire, but I still want to try another experiment, and Shien stands and releases fire magic in the form of a sphere, and asks Mary to throw magical energy at it, and suddenly a very big explosion occurs, and they all fall to the ground. So Shien rushes quickly to check on Mary. So Rose asks him, did you know this would be the result? So he tells her, no, I did not expect this to happen. I thought the fireball would only increase. An idea comes to Shien's mind, and he goes to the lightning metal to try it, and tells them this is not magical energy. So Rose and Mary are surprised. So Shien tells them this is just the reaction of air with magic. When I tried magic on the metal the first time, there was strong resistance from the wind, and this means that magical energy is fuel, performing the same function as air. At sunset, Shien stands to try more experiments, while wearing gloves that Grast gave him as a gift. So Grast tells him I made them for you from materials that insulate electricity, and also highly resistant to heat. So Shien begins his experiments, and uses magical energy with lightning and fire, and the result is huge explosions. So Shien screams and says I succeeded, and starts crying with joy, so Mary goes and hugs him. On the next day, Shien is training in the garden with Rose and Mary, and after they finish, he thanks them for helping him. So Mary says that is natural because I am your older sister, so Shien remembers the past. And while he is walking inside the house, he suddenly hears his father saying, we adopted Shien from someone, and we return to the present, and Shien tells himself, my sister and I are not related by blood. After that they go to the lake so Shien can try water magic. And he tries to use it but there is no result, so they ask him what are you doing exactly, so he replies in the previous experiment, I discovered that magical energy released into the sky gains the same properties as air, so if I use the energy in water, will it also gain the same properties or not? I must change this method, and he tries to use magic again, and this time the water rises upward. After a while Shien comes out of the lake, and tells himself it is good that I discovered water magic exists, and tells Rose and Mary watch what I will do now, and he tries to gather water from the air using magic, but he fails, and tells himself maybe I failed because I used a small amount of energy, I will try again with higher energy, and he starts gathering water from the air again, and indeed he manages to get some water in his hand, so Mary goes to Shien in amazement, holds him tightly, and asks him where did you get this water sphere from, so Shien starts explaining to them how he controlled the water, so Mary and Rose try to imitate him, and indeed they manage to use water magic, so they both become very happy. After that the three of them go to the city with Grast, specifically to the monster slaying guild, and Grast tells them first, in order to become guild members you must register, but are you sure you want to join the guild? So Mary replies if I run away now, I will never gain confidence in myself again, so Shien asks Grast to keep this matter a secret between them, and not let his father know. They enter the guild at the reception area and Grast introduces himself to the employee there, and tells her I am a platinum rank fighter and I want to register these three children, and suddenly their father appears behind them, goes to the employee, and tells her, I am a diamond rank fighter and I will support them. So everyone in the place is shocked, and they say this rank is extremely high, we have never seen it before. After that they go outside the guild, and the four of them apologize because they went to the guild without telling him. So he replies I expected you would go there. So they are all surprised how did he know, so he tells them in the past few days, I noticed strange behavior from Mary, so I expected you were planning something, how could you do something this dangerous without telling me? Anyway next time you do something like this, you must inform me immediately, because having a high rank fighter with you will keep you safe, I will go with you when you face monsters, so they all become happy. After that they go to the place where the monsters are, so the father starts the fight, and the monsters rush at him with full force. But the father blocks them skillfully, and kills them all, and tells them I only reduced their numbers, but they will return again. At that time I will leave them to you. They are not as strong as goblins, the monster that attacked you before. They will be suitable for your first battle. Mary and Rose will be in the front, while Shien will be behind you. The monsters quickly charge at them, so Shien starts the first attack, and uses his fire magic, and uses magical energy to increase the flame's power, and a gigantic explosion occurs, allowing him to destroy a very large number of monsters, so another monster attacks him. And Shien says I will not be able to use magic again immediately, so the monster jumps at him and is about to strike him, but Mary reaches him at the last moment, and the three of them start attacking the monsters one after another. After the battle, Shien thanks his sister for saving him, so Mary replies there is no need to thank me. I am your older sister and I must protect you. I now feel a bit more confident in myself. So their father goes and praises them for this fight, and tells them there is no time now. Let us move on to the next stage. You must gain as much experience as possible. So they are all shocked. After they finish the second battle, they are extremely exhausted. So the father tells them I will go with Grast to collect the loot while you rest. So the three of them sit under a tree, and Shien notices a giant tent, and takes them to the tent to explore it. So Mary says I think we should not go any further than this. But Shien decides to enter inside, and notices a strange light coming from a cage, and goes to see what is inside, and the surprise is that he finds a fairy imprisoned. So Mary asks is she different from monsters, so Shien tries to touch her, but she gets scared and moves backward, so the three of them decide to free her from the cage. So Shien opens the door, and the fairy flies out quickly, and they are stunned by her beauty. At night they return home again, but the mother is surprised by the condition of her children because they are injured. so the father becomes flustered in front of her, and the mother scolds him harshly, then goes to the children angrily and asks them what happened. So Mary and Shien become very scared, and then they sit and tell her what happened today. So she replies, I knew from the beginning about this monster hunting. Your father told me everything before he left. So Shien asks her then, why did you scold him? So she tells him, because it is not normal for you to return home injured like this. Your father definitely took advantage of the opportunity to fight as many monsters as possible. This was supposed to be your first experience, but he risked you. That is why I was angry. Do not misunderstand me, as long as you are not hurting anyone. Do whatever you want, I only have one request, which is that you take care of yourselves. So the two of them apologize for what happened. After 2 years, they go to the battlefield to face the monsters, and Shien stands in front of one of the goblin monsters, like the one that attacked them at home before, and Shien uses storm magic on it and directs it, trapping the monster inside the storm and throwing it far away, and he manages to defeat it very easily. So Shien tells himself, I recently invented this spell, but it needs a long time to use. Anyway, its function is not attack, so Mary calls out to Shien, and goes to him with Rose, and asks him, did you finish all the monsters you had? So he replies yes, and tells himself 2 years have passed since we started training for combat. So Mary becomes happy for him, and tells him you managed to defeat 20 goblin monsters. After that they go to the city market, and Shien tells himself, over the last 2 years, I became able to measure people's magical energy level just by looking at them. But the two humans with the highest magical energy are Rose and Mary. And while they are walking, Mary is surprised by the number of fighters joining the guild. So Rose replies to her, I heard that the number of goblin monsters is large, and they also became close to the city. So Mary tells them, what do you think about going to the blacksmith Grast? They go together to the blacksmith, and he welcomes them warmly. So Shien asks him, are you going to melt lightning metal again today? So he replies, no, that is enough. And by the way, I made the gloves you asked me for. So Shien is surprised, and tells him, but I asked for them just a short time ago, and then thanks him. So he replies, you consume them very quickly, but that is proof of your maturity, and asks them, how are the battles you fight without me and your father? So Mary tells him, we are close to reaching the silver rank. So Grast is amazed, and tells her, I do not think anyone reached that rank at your age. After that they return home to train in combat with their father, and Shien starts the battle with him, and manages to defeat his father in the end. And then it is Mary's turn, and she starts fighting enthusiastically, but she loses the battle. So Mary becomes sad and sits on the ground, and says, I cannot defeat you at all, but Shien manages to defeat you every time. So he replies to her, do not rush, it is still early. You will surely be able to defeat me one day. So Mary walks away to train on combat alone. So Shien goes and asks him about her, and he replies at her age, she possesses a unique skill in sword usage. After that Shien goes with Mary to Rose's farm, and Rose tells them, I am sorry that I told you to come help me. But unfortunately there is a shortage of workers, so Shien asks her, what are we gonna do now? So she replies, I want you to help me get rid of these pests, because they destroy the crops. But Mary is afraid of them, and they start collecting them quickly, but Mary struggles to catch them, so they laugh at her. After they finish removing the pests, Mary has gathered a small number of them, so she tells them, next year we will compete to see who collects more. I am confident I will win this time, and suddenly the sky becomes cloudy and strange lights come out of it. So they are all surprised, and Shien asks them how when the sky was clear just now, and the sky begins to rain. So Rose tells them, come enter my house until this storm ends. But suddenly Mary faints, so Shien and Rose rush to check on her. They carry her and place her in Rose's house, and their father and mother enter in a state of panic, and her mother rushes to her crying, and suddenly Mary opens her eyes, but she gives no reaction, and does not respond to them. So Rose tells them she may have been infected with the lethargy disease. So the father asks her, do you mean the disease that spread in the city recently? So she replies, yes, I heard rumors about it when we were at the market. And its symptoms are that people suddenly fall to the ground and do not move at all. They are conscious but cannot speak. The matter resembles a state of laziness. That is why it was named the lethargy disease. The mother asks her, and does the one infected recover again? So she replies, according to my knowledge, almost no. I have not heard of any person who recovered from this disease, and the cause is still unknown and no one knows anything about it. So the mother worries more about Mary and starts crying. So the father tells them, we must go to the doctor now. I will take Mary immediately. You go back home with your mother Shien. But Shien refuses and tells him, I will go with you. So his father replies, that will not work. Dangerous monsters appear at this time. We do not know what might happen on the road. So Shien tells him, you will not be able to protect Mary alone while driving. I may be a child, but I can defeat these monsters with you. So the father finally agrees. After that they get into the carriage and head toward the city quickly. So the father tells Shien take care of Mary, so Shien asks him what is that red light in the sky. So he replies I do not see anything, so Shien realizes that something is wrong, and suddenly a group of wolves attacks them. So Shien tells him continue on your way and I will kill them. He puts on his gloves and tells himself I will not be able to use fire or lightning magic under the rain. The only solution is to use water and air magic only, and he starts gathering rainwater in his hand, shaping it into bullets and shoots the wolves with them. But he realizes he will not be able to defeat them, because their number is very large. But suddenly the wolves retreat and run away in a strange state, so Shien is very surprised, and asks himself why did they leave. But suddenly a giant specter appears in front of him, so Shien becomes afraid, and tells his father look at this monster, but he cannot see it. So Shien tells himself this means that only someone with magical energy can see it, and he tries to attack it using water magic. But the bullets pass through the monster and do not affect it. So the monster extends its hand to grab Shien, and Shien starts asking himself am I gonna die again? So he remembers how he defeated the goblin monster in their house, and decides to use the same method, which is burning it using magical energy. And indeed the monster is affected by this burning. So Shien says could it be that the energy purified it? The monster tries to attack the father and gets very close to him, but it is affected by the lightning lamp made of magic that is with them in the carriage, and retreats immediately. And at that moment, the father is able to see the specter clearly, so Shien jumps at it, and uses energy to burn it, and manages to defeat it, and Shien is about to fall from a great height, but his father catches him at the last moment, and tells him you acted too recklessly. So he replies there was no other way I could defeat it, I am sorry. So the father tells him there is no need to apologize, we survived thanks to you. After that they continue on their way, and his father tells him that monster was very strange. It is the first time I have seen one like it. So Shien is surprised, and asks him you were able to see it. So he replies yes. It appeared to me as soon as it approached me. So Shien looks at the lightning lamp, and concludes that it must be related to the matter. When they reach the doctor, they are shocked by the number of people infected with the lethargy disease. So Shien goes to help the doctor, and asks him to examine his sister. So he replies wait until your turn comes. So the father tells Shien we have no other solution, we must wait our turn, and after a long wait the doctor examines her, and tells them she is indeed infected with the lethargy disease, and unfortunately we have no treatment for it. All we can do is monitor her condition. So Shien remembers his moments with Mary, and shouts at the doctor and tells him please do anything, and starts crying. After one day of Mary being infected with the lethargy disease, the family decides to stay in the city, so they can remain close to the doctor, and they stay inside one of Grast's warehouses, so they thank Grast for hosting them, and he replies there is no need to thank me, you have always helped me a lot, so it is time for me to repay the favor. But let us focus on what is important now, and take care of Mary, I will leave now and come check on you later. After some time Shien is sitting in front of Mary, and sadly tells himself I do not know how much time has passed. No matter how much I call her she does not respond. So his father enters and tells him that someone wants to meet him. So Shien replies I will not go anywhere and leave Mary alone. So his father replies do you remember the specter that attacked us 4 days ago? On that same day many incidents happened because of these specters. They attacked people and killed them. And they will surely appear again and kill more people. You are the only one who can defeat the specters. The number of victims will increase if we leave these monsters free. But Shien still refuses to go with him, and tells him I will stay here forever, and I will not leave her alone. So his father asks him so you do not mind if people die? Is that what you mean? And he walks towards Shien and puts his hand on him, and tells him even if that monster attacks our village you will still say it is not my problem. So Shien pushes him away, and angrily tells him I am not obligated to save anyone, why am I supposed to do that? I just want to stay with my sister, how are you not worried about her? So his father replies I am more worried about her than you. She is my daughter and of course I do not want her to die. I want to save her even if I die, but at the moment I have no other choice. You can save many people from death. So Shien remembers his moments with Mary, and finally decides to help people. He stands in front of his sister, and his father is surprised by this stance, but Shien realizes that something is wrong, and asks himself why does Mary not have any magical energy, and he runs quickly into the street, and tells himself how did I not notice this the whole time. He takes his father and they go to the doctor's clinic. So his father asks him did you discover anything so far? So Shien replies yes, I noticed that all the patients here have no trace of magical energy, and I also noticed that no one in this city has magical energy, which means magic is related to this matter. Surely there is something we can do to get rid of this disease. I believe no one has discovered the cause of the disease nor its treatment, so it seems I will rely on myself and find the solution alone. After that they go to the city mayor, and the father tells him we apologize for visiting without permission. This is my son Shien. I suggest that you carry lightning lamps with you, because they can repel the specters well. And suddenly the mayor starts crying and acting like a madman, and says, why is all of this happening to me? Since I started ruling the city, disasters have only increased. I thought this would be easier than this. So Shien is very surprised by him, and suddenly the mayor calms down again, and tells the father, I already gathered a large number of lamps, and distributed them to the soldiers during night duty. So the father claps for him and praises what he did. The mayor replies, there is no need for praise now. Let us focus on what is important. I heard that this disease is related to magic. Your father told me everything, Shien, and since your magic affects these monsters, then if we gather anyone who has magical energy, we will be able to defeat them. So Shien replies, but there is a problem. Teaching magic will take time, and besides that, anyone who had magical energy was infected with this disease. The mayor asks him then, do you have an idea about the lethargy disease? The doctor's research is progressing slowly. So Shien replies, yes. When a person is infected, magical energy returns to its normal state when they rest. But those infected with the lethargy disease have lost their energy, so we can return this energy to them through living creatures. So the mayor tells him that means if you fail, all patients will die. So Shien replies yes, and tells himself, I will bear any result, if in return I save my sister. And after they leave him, Shien says, the mayor supported me with people to help me in the research. But why did he believe the words of a child like me? He did not even see my magic. On the next day, Shien gathers in his house with the assistants that the mayor sent, and tells them, let us introduce ourselves. So one of them starts and says, I am Cole. I am the doctor's assistant. So one of the seated women replies, I am Ravina. I am the legitimate heir to the ruler of another city, and currently I am the secret commander of this city's guard. So Shien tells the last one, can you introduce yourself? So she replies shyly, I am Git, and I am a monster expert. So Shien tells them, I thank the three of you for coming here. We will now begin a dangerous mission. After that, they go to a training ground, and Shien demonstrates his abilities in front of them. So they are all shocked and ask, what was that you just did? So Shien replies, this is a new technique I invented called magic, and I can use all natural phenomena, such as air, water, and lightning. So Cole, the doctor's assistant, asks him, is this related to the lethargy disease? So Shien replies, I am not sure yet. After that, they go to fight monsters, and Ravina is wearing very heavy armor, and cannot walk properly. So Git, the monster expert, tells Shien, I was asked to research the invisible monster. Is this matter related to the lethargy disease? So Shien replies, no. In order to treat the infected, we must find a way to restore their magical energy again. I killed many monsters using it. When I release my energy at them, it reacts with their energy and burns them. That is why we will try to search for monsters that have magical energy, and that is why we need a monster expert like you. So Git becomes happy from this praise. Suddenly a goblin monster appears in front of them, and it is wearing armor, so Shien is surprised by it, and Git asks eagerly, why is it wearing armor like this? So Ravina finally decides to destroy the armor she is wearing, and draws her sword and attacks the monster quickly. But the monster raises its sword, and is about to strike Ravina, but Shien catches up at the last moment, and uses lightning magic to disable it. So the monster steps back, and suddenly appears behind Ravina and attacks her, but Ravina tries to block the strike, yet she crashes hard into a tree. So Shien uses his magic on the monster, and Ravina quickly gets up, grabs her sword, and stabs it into the monster. On the next day, Shien sits with Rose and asks her about his mother. So she replies she is sitting with Mary upstairs. I offered to sit instead of her, but she refused. She probably wants to stay with her longer. By the way, I heard that you started your research about the lethargy disease. Can I help you with anything? So he tells her, you have responsibilities here at home, so you will not be able to travel all the time. Anyway, 3 experts are helping me. So Rose feels sad, and tells him, even though my dear friend is in a dangerous situation, I cannot help her with anything. So Shien replies, do not say that. Your help to my mother makes many things easier for us. After that, Shien walks with Cole, and asks him, where are we going? So Cole replies, the clinic. The mayor issued a decision for me to take you there. Maybe you will discover something. And after they arrive, a doctor working there tells them there are patients here suffering from mild cases of the lethargy disease. So Shien holds his hand and activates his magic on him, and tells himself he has a very small amount of magical energy, just as I expected the source of the disease, and it is caused by a lack of energy. As soon as they finish, Shien tells him, when I transferred magical energy, his fingertips moved. There was a definite response to magic. So Cole replies, all we can do now is monitor his condition, and increase the magical energy dose. So the doctor enters on them, and asks them, what did you do? So Shien replies, we discovered new things. But Cole interrupts him, and tells the doctor we must leave now. After they leave the clinic, Cole tells him, do not mention magic or magical energy, or any detail of treating the lethargy disease in front of anyone, because the doctors are spending all their time studying treatments for this disease. So Shien replies, this means they might hinder our research, but we are supposed to try to treat the infected only. At night Shien goes to check on his sister, and tries to transfer energy to her, but she gives no reaction, and he tells himself do not rush the results. Do you remember how we developed magic? You are walking the same path only. On the next day, Shien goes to the forest with Git and Ravina, to fight monsters and try to take their energy, and while Ravina is killing monsters, Shien is with Git to test their experiments on the monster, and he holds its hand and activates magic on it, so the monster feels great pain, and Git is sitting recording notes, and when Shien reaches a certain point of magic, the monster's arm evaporates, and Git says if you transfer magic to them even in small amounts you burn them. It seems just as you said, this energy purifies them, so he replies humans may respond differently than monsters. Shien returns home again, and sits with Mary, and remembers Git's words. So Rose enters and tells him I brought you what you asked for, and it is fish from the lake, so Shien holds them, and tries to transfer some energy to them, but it reaches a certain limit and stops. So Rose tells him you probably released a large amount of magical energy, but still the fish were not affected. So Shien replies it seems magical energy purifies monsters only, but will the reaction be different if I use it on uninfected humans? Rose tells him so to observe the magical reaction, you need a human, right? And the only person who has magical energy and is not infected is me. If there is a way I can help Mary I will do anything. Perform this magical reaction on me. So they both prepare to try the experiment, and Shien tells her if you feel pain or anything else tell me immediately, and he holds her hands and starts the reaction. After a while Shien asks her are you okay? So she replies I just feel a bit of warmth, but everything is fine, so he asks her about pain. So she tells him honestly it is a pleasant feeling, but in the middle of the experiment, Shien remembers what happened to the monster's arm. So he gets scared and decides to stop the reaction. So Rose holds him again and tells him continue and do not worry at all. So Shien returns to the experiment, and at a certain moment he stops the magic. So Rose asks him is this the maximum amount of magical energy you have? So he replies almost. I need to increase the interaction time a bit. After a month passes, the guards start abandoning the lightning lamps, and Shien is standing with his 3 assistants, and tells them a month has passed since the last time the specters appeared. They probably decided that we are no longer in danger now, so Git replies if they appear now we will be in big trouble. So Cole says I do not think the specters will come again. Besides I am not convinced that these lamps are really effective against them. Suddenly Ravina raises her sword at him, so Cole and Shien are startled, and she tells him what were you doing all this time? Shien was taking care of his sister, and helping his mother, and also searching for a way to cure the disease, and going to hunt monsters too. And achieved results despite all that, so Cole replies alright I understand. Thanks to Shien we advanced in the lethargy disease research. Even we doctors could not reach simple results. Shien asks Git are there signs of new monsters appearing, so she tells him no, there are no reports of their appearance, so Shien wonders do specters appear only in specific places, so Git replies these specters may have appeared after the Lethargy War, so Shien is surprised by this war. So Ravina tells him how do you not know it? This was a war that happened about 1,000 years ago. At that time all countries united to fight demons. It was a legendary war. At night, the mayor is sitting in his palace, writing notes about the lethargy disease discoveries, and says in them we started transferring magical energy to mild cases, and the results were blinking in reactions. This is considered noticeable progress. And after a while we discovered that transferring a large amount of magical energy leads to the lethargy disease, and unfortunately this led to the depletion of Shien's energy, and he is now looking for a way to restore his magical energy as before. And after that there was no further progress. After 2 years pass, Shien is in the clinic in front of a patient, and the patient's wife says my husband smiled. Thank you Dr. Shien, so he replies I did nothing to deserve thanks. So she tells him even if the smile was for moments, it was all thanks to you. And after he finishes with the patient, Cole calls him, and tells him you look very exhausted. Are you sleeping well? You do not have to carry the burden alone. So he replies do not worry about me. Shien returns to his house, and finds Git and Ravina waiting for him, and he enters the house with them. So his mother and Rose welcome them, and Shien's father and Grast enter on them, and they sit to have dinner together. But Shien misses Mary so they feel sad for him, and his father tells him you must rest a bit, so he replies I am not tired. The only thing is that I no longer have magical energy, so he tells him your mother and I discussed the matter. At this rate you will collapse before curing Mary, so you must rest, and his father and mother stand up and hug him. He tells them I am really not tired, I want to cure my sister as soon as possible. But I do not need to rush things, I know rest is important. So his father asks him but this is a very big burden on you. So he replies when I was researching magic, it was more exhausting, I searched for it and developed it. But lethargy disease research is not exhausting. I will continue the research even if it takes my whole life. After they finish eating, Shien goes to sit with Mary for a while, and suddenly a strong red light appears in the sky, so Shien takes the lightning lamps and goes down to see what is happening. and meets Rose and tells her I must inform the mayor about this light. So she replies I must come with you. So he tells her no, stay here, and take care of Mom and Mary, you are the only one who can help them. And after Shien goes out of the house, he tells himself this is the same light I saw on the night Mary was infected with the disease. And suddenly a swarm of specters attacks the city. While Shien is looking at the sky, two soldiers pass in front of him, and he notices a specter in front of them. And he tries to warn them, but they look at him strangely, because they cannot see it. So Shien jumps at the specter and uses his magic and kills it. So the specter appears to them because of Shien's magic, and the soldiers are extremely shocked. After that, Shien goes to the mayor's palace to report what he saw. So the mayor becomes flustered and tells a soldier standing with him, we have no other solution, make the guards prepare, distribute the lightning lamps to them, and order them to go to the city gates. So Shien asks the mayor to let him go with the soldiers, and tells him the lamps alone will not be enough to defeat the specters. I must be with them there. So the mayor agrees to his request. Shien gathers himself and goes to the soldiers, and meets their commander. So the commander says you were not satisfied with the lightning lamps you made, and you also gathered the soldiers without reason. So Shien is surprised by these words, and hears the soldiers saying, the mayor has returned to his delusions again. I heard he ordered us to use the lightning lamps, even though they are useless. Are not the normal lamps supposed to be enough? And suddenly Ravina enters on them, and says our battalion has not yet received orders. What exactly are we gonna do? So he replies, do whatever you want, go back home and sleep again. And at the same time the soldiers say the useless squad has arrived. They only take secondary missions. Ravina tells the commander this is not a time to rest. I will exert my maximum effort to restore things to normal again. And after that Shien goes with Ravina and the soldiers to the city walls. And while they are running, Ravina asks him where exactly are we going? So he replies we are going to the main gate of the city. There we will be able to monitor the movements of the specters from far distances. And suddenly Shien notices a group of specters in the city streets. So Ravina asks him, are we supposed to go down and kill them? So he replies we will not catch them, we must continue on our way. When they reach the gate, Shien jumps in front of the soldiers guarding the gate, and asks himself why have I become able to use magic more easily? So they are very surprised, and ask him who are you? So he replies get out of here because the specters will attack us. So they tell him you are lying, there are no monsters here. So Shien uses magic and throws it to the ground, and a group of specters appears coming toward them. So Shien uses lightning magic and destroys them all, and the soldiers are shocked by what they saw, and ask who are you? Shien climbs on top of the gate, and sees a very large crowd of specters, so Ravina asks him what is happening now. So he replies there are more than 100 specters that will attack us. We must stop them by any means, because like this they will destroy the entire city. And Shien uses fire magic and lights up all the walls, so that once the specters get close they will be able to see them. So Ravina tells her soldiers as long as the enemy is visible to us, we will be able to kill it easily. And until the gate guards arrive with reinforcements, we must protect this place by any means. As soon as the specters arrive, they all prepare for battle, so Shien starts the fight and jumps at them, and uses fire magic and destroys a large number of them. But their number is greater than expected, so Shien tries to repel them. And Ravina intervenes and fights with him, and tells Shien my pride as a knight will never allow me to leave you alone. And while they are fighting the specters, suddenly Shien's fire that is with Ravina goes out, and she wishes she had her sword with her. So one of her soldiers thinks of an idea, which is to ignite the sword with Shien's fire, and throws it to Ravina, so she goes and grabs the sword quickly, and returns to the fight again, and thanks the soldier for this great idea. At the same time, Shien is fighting with all his strength, and he is surprised that his magic has not run out yet after all this energy he has expended, and tells himself I used my magical energy more than 100 times just today, and I still have a lot of it. Is this because of the red light? And Shien remembers what happened to him when these specters appeared for the first time 2 years ago, and suddenly a specter appears in front of him, but Shien kills it quickly, and says I must focus only on the battle. On the other side, the soldiers throw fire at the specters, and they are surprised when the monsters approach the fire and crash into it to die. So one of them says these specters are sacrificing themselves to extinguish the magical fire. So Shien gathers all his magic and strikes the specters with it in a massive explosion, and manages to burn them all. Ravina goes to check on him, so he replies I am fine, do not worry about me. Now we have defeated all the monsters, but suddenly Shien notices another swarm of specters coming toward them, so he is shocked and orders the soldiers to retreat backward, because he will fight alone. So Ravina tells him you are exhausting yourself more than necessary. So he replies there is no other solution, I must protect the city and its residents. Suddenly Grass calls out to him, so Shien is surprised, and Grass tells him in order to help you, I gathered the guild fighters and we came to defeat them, and Gid is also with them. and they begin to prepare for battle, and they use Shien's fire to prepare their weapons. And as soon as the monsters approach, the fighters shoot arrows ignited with magical fire at them, and kill them one after another. Shien is amazed, and asks Git, were you the one who thought of all this? So she replies, you told me that your magic is effective against these specters. I was the one who went to the Geld and gathered these fighters. I am happy that I was useful to you. Because I see you exerting great effort all the time, that is why I said I must help you with anything. So Shien thanks her and goes to fight with them. After they finish, the commander of the soldiers appears in front of them, and asks them, what are you doing? Are you disguising yourselves as invisible monsters to spread fear among the people? So Ravina replies that is not true. These people fought with all their strength to eliminate the specters. So he tells her there is no such thing as specters. Where are they now? So Shien tells him, but they were in the city. So he replies, nothing appeared. You are lying. Your truth has been revealed. Shien, what were you planning to make the mayor stand on your side? So Grass tells him, it is not our fault that you did not see them. You arrived here late. If it were not for Shien, the fate of this city would have been in danger. All the fighters here are witnesses. He tells them, be quiet completely. You are all liars. And the commander orders the soldiers to arrest them. And suddenly the commander rises into the sky. So he becomes very afraid, and asks what exactly is happening. And suddenly a hand comes out of nothingness and kills the commander. So they are all shocked, and the Spectre King appears, and tells them a long time has passed since the last time I came out. I finally escaped. Shien tells himself that the red light which appeared in this city is actually his magical energy. So Grast asks the monster, who are you? And it replies, you should not ask who I am before introducing yourself first. But anyway, I am the demon. So they are surprised. And he tells them, it is strange that you do not know demons. Humans have always been ignorant. How did you forget a war against demons that lasted almost 1,000 years? I was imprisoned all that time, but honestly there is no feeling that compares to freedom. Right now I intend to kill you quickly. And with a finger movement the demon destroys the entire area. But Shien flies and holds Grast and the others at the last moment and jumps away. But because of the explosion's force, Shien does not manage to escape and they are thrown far away. And after they get up from the ground, Shien asks Ravina and Git to evacuate the people from the city. So Ravina asks him, what will you do? And he replies, I must face him. He has enormous magical energy. It is impossible for anyone to stand against him. He also uses magic. Unfortunately, I did not understand everything correctly, and I did not realize that the ghost attack was evidence of this monster's arrival. The real battle will begin now. Grast asks Shien who is the person that suddenly appeared, so he tells him, I do not know, but the area around him is filled with magical energy, almost stronger than mine by 100 times, so Grast is shocked, and tells him, I will go fight with you. I cannot leave you alone without doing anything. On the other side, the demon is rampaging through the city like a madman, and says, I have not felt this pleasure for a long time, so Shien tells Grast, I will go face him, and you wait for the right moment and attack him from behind. I will be the bait. This is our best chance to win. I am the only one who can evade his attacks. That is why I must be in the front. So Grast replies, please try not to die. I will not be able to deliver news of your death to your family. Let us defeat him. Shien goes toward him, and uses water magic to extinguish the fire created by the monster. So the demon is surprised by what happened, sees Shien in front of him, and says, you have magical energy, and your hair and eye color are red. You are probably from the lineage of Legria, right? Because ordinary humans cannot use magic. But where are the rest of your people? But Shien does not understand what he is saying. So he tells him, how do you not know your origin? Anyway, I will kill you now. I see that you can use magic even though it is primitive. The monster uses its magic and destroys the place, but Shien manages to jump away, and uses water magic and shapes it into bullets and shoots him. And there is a lot of smoke, so Shien asks himself, did I defeat him? But the monster emerges from the smoke, and tells him, you are using an interesting spell, and lunges at Shien. But Shien tries to move away, yet the demon moves quickly, and appears behind him, and says, you want to run away from the battle this quickly, and hits him and throws him far away. So Shien uses air magic to reduce the impact of the blow. The monster approaches him, gathers its magic to strike Shien, so he says, I will not have time to use water magic. At this rate I will not escape and I will die. And Shien remembers moments from his life, and tells himself, I will not die. I will stand here and protect everyone. On the other side, injured soldiers are taken to clinic so doctors can examine them, so Cole goes to see what happened to them, and tells one of the injured these are severe burns, and he looks at the soldier's condition in surprise, and asks what exactly happened. So one of them replies, a dangerous person appeared out of nowhere, and started destroying the city. So Cole goes to the window, and tells himself, this looks like magic. I hope Shien is fine. At the same time, Ravina goes with Git to evacuate the city residents, warning people that there are many explosions and they must go to a safe place. So Ravina meets her soldiers and tells them, I am glad you are still alive. Where is Shien now? So they reply, we were trying to escape, so we did not see anything, but this monster is very powerful. We do not think Shien can stand against him. So she asks them to evacuate the residence, and she will help Shien, and goes to Git to tell her that she will go fight with Shien. So Git replies, do not go. It will be difficult for you to defeat a monster like this. So she says, do not worry about me. Shien and I will return victorious. We return to Shien's battle with the monster, and the demon has gathered its magic and strikes Shien. So Shien uses magic and shakes the ground, evades the monster's strike, and tries to attack with water and lightning, but the demon blocks them easily. So Shien is shocked and says, how? I thought electricity was not yet invented in this era. How did he block that attack with insulating materials? So the demon tells him, every magic you use, I have its counter, even your water and lightning. I believe you are the one who discovered them. But all you achieved are only basics. You are now powerless before me. Your end is near. And the monster uses lightning and fire magic together, shocking Shien. Suddenly Grass lunges at the demon quickly and strikes him with his axe, but it has no effect. So the demon throws him away and uses lightning magic on him. And in an unexpected moment, Shien's father attacks the demon from behind. So it tells him, do you think your human weapon can kill me? And strikes the father with a powerful blow, slamming him into the wall, then goes to Shien and tells him, you are truly an amazing child. Even in your current state you are trying to find a way to defeat me. You suppressed your fear, and your look says you are still ready to fight. This is what is expected from the lineage of Legria. How about becoming my servant? You will gain great power and long life. But in return you will lose your sense of self and become a toy in my hands. But do not worry, you will get used to it quickly. Shien tries to run quickly, but the demon catches him and stands before him, grabs him by the neck, and tells him there is no need to fear. Everything will end quickly, and you will not feel any pain. Then the demon reveals its fangs, and Shien is shocked to realize he is also a vampire, and tries to escape. But there is no use, so the monster sinks its fangs into Shien and starts sucking his blood, and Shien gives up and tells himself, I cannot do anything. I failed to protect the residents and my mother and sister. But suddenly the demon screams in pain, releases Shien, and asks, did you obtain fairy protection? The tainted blood is spreading through my body, so the monster becomes enraged, gathers its power, and strikes Shien, but Ravina reaches him at the last moment and asks Shien, are you okay? So the monster becomes even angrier, gathers all its power and prepares to strike Shien. So Shien asks Ravina to raise his hand, gathers his magical energy, and tries to use it as fuel, telling himself not enough. I must gather more energy, but I will not have time. Suddenly Grast attacks the monster and injures its arm, and Shien's father attacks it with his sword and manages to cut off its arm. So the demon pushes them away quickly, and Shien throws his magical energy at it. So the demon says, this will not affect me, and throws its magic back. But Shien replies, you are the ignorant one in the end. And the moment the magical energy touches the spell, a massive explosion occurs, affecting the monster and burning it. So the demon screams in pain and asks, what is happening? My body is collapsing. And suddenly the demon disappears forever. Ravina asks him, does this mean you defeated him? So Shien replies, I have no magical energy left. I cannot continue. I will probably die. And Shien loses his balance and tells himself it is over now, and we will probably return to our normal lives again. Finally I will see my sister. And suddenly Shien faints. After a period of time, Shien wakes up from a nightmare, and his mother is sitting beside him, so she hugs him and tells him, you finally opened your eyes after all this time. After a while Cole comes to examine Shien, and says his body is fine and there is nothing wrong with it. So Shien asks him, how long have I been unconscious? And he replies, you have been out for a week. You were asleep this entire period. So Shien is surprised. Then his father enters with Grast, and comes to check on him. So Shien tells them, I am fine, do not worry about me. So they become very happy. And his father tells him, I left the village as soon as I noticed the specters appearing that day. It is good that I arrived at the right time, even though I was not very useful. So Shien replies, that is not true. I defeated him because you cut off his arm. And by the way, are all the people who were in the incident safe? So Cole replies, Git and Ravina were injured with light injuries. Mary and Rose are fine too. Shien becomes happy and asks them what happened after I lost consciousness. So his father tells him the situation was bad. The number of victims was large, unfortunately. So Shien becomes sad and says, if I had done better than this, all those people would not have died. And Shien feels a strange sensation and suddenly notices a large amount of magical energy emanating from him. So he becomes very surprised and tells himself, my magical capacity has clearly increased. And he asks his father to take him to his sister Mary quickly. As soon as they go there, Git and Ravina are taking care of Mary. So Shien goes to his sister, and his mother asks him not to exhaust himself anymore. So he replies, do not worry, I am fine. And tells himself, with a sufficient amount of magical energy, I will be able to cure those infected with the lethargy disease. I have not proven this theory yet, but the energy I possess now is 100 times greater than before. I might be able to cure my sister right now. He uses his magic and places his hand on her, and Shien is surprised that all this amount of energy is not enough, and while everyone is extremely tense, Mary opens her eyes, so everyone panics, and Cole tells them wait a little, it is not over yet, and at a certain moment, Mary manages to move her hands and mouth, and after a while Shien stops the magic, and asks did her energy return again, so Mary moves her hand, grabs Shien's hand, and starts speaking simple words, so they all cry from happiness. After some time, Shien goes to the clinic and bids farewell to a patient who was infected with the lethargy disease, and says a week has passed since I cured my sister, and with the help of Cole and the doctors, we managed to cure all those infected with the disease. And at the present time after curing the patients, it is time for me to find out who I really am. After that Shien goes to the mayor's palace, and his father and mother are standing there along with Grast, so the mayor tells him, you certainly have many questions now. Since you are smart you surely notice certain things. I will answer all your questions. So Shien asks him who exactly am I, because as soon as I became obsessed with magic, my mother and father supported me strangely fast. And you also believed me immediately when you heard about the lethargy disease and the specters. I did not even use magic in front of you, yet you believed without any doubt, as if you already knew about magic before. The mayor replies you are from the lineage of Legria. Legria were a people who stood beside humans 1,000 years ago. They fought fiercely against demons, they had red hair and eyes, and it is said they used a strange power called magic. And during the battle before Legria imprisoned the demons cast a curse on them that caused them all to die. But all of this changed completely 12 years ago. In the heart of the capital, a woman appeared carrying a child in front of the queen, and said that this child is from the lineage of Legria, and that he will be the only light capable of saving the world. You must raise him and take care of him, and if you neglect him humanity will surely fall. But the queen did not believe this, and if he truly was from the lineage of Legria, he could pose a danger in the future, so she went to her old companions, who are supposed to be your father and mother, so Shien asks them does my sister know the truth? So his father replies we deliberately did not tell her about this, we wanted to raise you as if you were our real son, and his mother apologizes to him for not telling the truth earlier. Shien tells them I already knew this before. I once heard you talking about this matter, but even if we are not related by blood, you will remain my parents forever. So they become very happy, and Shien asks them why did the queen choose you specifically? So they tell him because we are honorary nobles. We are lower than hereditary nobles like the mayor, who belongs to the hereditary class. And since our title is honorary, we have no right to own lands. But the mayor allowed us to govern a rural area within his lands. Shien says so that I would be far from people. Right, so that if someone knew I was from the lineage of Legria, they might try to exploit me for evil purposes. That is why you prevented me from using magic at first. So his father replies I did not want to believe that you were truly from the lineage of Legria. So Grast asks Shien I know you can use magic because you are from Legria, but how did you know things beyond your age? So Shien hesitates and asks himself should I tell them that I existed in another world before? But in the end Shien decides to hide the matter, and tells them because I read a lot, and asks the mayor what should I do now? So he replies you will most likely receive an invitation from the queen. After they finish, Shien goes to Mary to check on her, so she welcomes him, but she speaks with difficulty, and asks him to hold her hand, and tells him when I was unconscious, I was in another dark world, and I was alone and trapped there, and for a long time I could not do anything, I was very scared. But all that time I could hear your voice, and mom and dad's voices too. That is why I tried to hold on. The next day, the family returns to the village again, and they enter their house for the first time in 2 years, because they were all exhausted and wanted to rest in a quiet place. And after that Shien goes to the forest to test his magic, and tells himself the physical ability that Mary showed during training was the beginning of the lethargy disease, and Shien tries to use his magic and strikes the tree. But he does not feel pain from the blow like every time, and says as I expected magical energy is like armor and absorbs shocks. But if I focus I might be able to affect the tree. So Shien uses his magic again and strikes the tree, and the result is that the impact marks appear on the tree. After several days, an invitation from the queen reaches Shien, and he stands to bid farewell to his family, and asks his father to take care of his sister. So Grast tells him the world is very vast. Go explore it and return to us as a special person. And Ravina tells him do not be sad. This is only a temporary farewell. So he replies I am just sad because I will not see you for a while. After that he goes to his sister Mary to say goodbye to her. So Mary cries and tells him I will feel lonely without you. So Shien says I am leaving now, and goes to open the door, and is surprised by guards from Ravina's battalion, and the guard commander tells him we will escort you to the city. It is an honor for me to accompany a great person like you. After that Shien goes and rides the carriage with Ravina, and his family calls out to him. So Mary tells Shien take this gift, today is your birthday, it is a necklace. so that you do not feel lonely even if we are far from you. The three of us chose it together, so Shien wears it, and thanks Mary and his parents for the gift. So Mary replies, with your magical power you will be able to save many people. Even if things become difficult, remember us, we will always be by your side, Shien. So Shien starts crying.